Welcome to the HSGameTime studios. I'm Pep Fernandez. That's EPJ, and he's going to break it down by the numbers. And Eric, let's start with your question from last week. Vista Murrieta, huge win against Redlands East Valley. Su'a Cravens, a big part of that. He's our reigning HSGameTime Player of the Year. But who was the last player or players to do this, go back-to-back in 2 consecutive years?
You know, we had a lot of people try to give answers. You know, the obvious popular answer was Toby Gerhardt, but Toby Gerhardt only did win it once his senior year. The last player to do it was Bobby Sayers of Norte Vista in 1972 and 1973. He was a great dual threat quarterback. I know a lot of people in Norco would remember him in that 1973 season, had over 500 yards in a game, even though Norco won that game, but definitely one of, you know, a great all-purpose player for Norte Vista. The other 2 players who have done back-to-back were George Farrell of Beaumont in 1957 and 1958, and Ken Martin of Hemet in 1961 and 1962.
So it's been a long time since we've had back-to-back players. Su'a Cravens, the inside track, you'd have to say, to do it this year for HSGameTime. All right, Centenial picked up that huge win against Alemany. I saw the quote from the Alemany coach that said they shouldn't have been the favorite. Centennial's tough on their home field, right? Yeah,
you know, after Dean Harrington, the Alemany coach, mentioned, you know, Centennial has only lost a few times on their own field, I decided to go back and say, well, are they the toughest inland team on their own home field? And it turns out they are. Centennial since 2000, 75-8 at Husky Stadium, so a .904 winning percentage, by far the best out there. Number 2 is is Citrus Hill. Number 3 is Vista Murrieta, but they're a good 50-60 percentage points behind the Huskies. So it's definitely tough to come in there to Husky Stadium and do it, even though Chaparral has done it twice in the last few years. So, you know, not impossible, but you know you're going to get a tough game when you go to Centennial.
Not easy. All right, let's move on to the war for the wheel, Beaumont and Banning, and there was not a shortage of points in this one.
No, you know, it's the 88th time that these 2 schools have met, and the combined 90 points is a 56-34 victory for Beaumont, is the highest scoring game in this rivalry's history out there. And the 56 points scored by Beaumont is the second most by a victorious team in the series. Only the 1957 Beaumont team scored more in a 67-0 victory. So, you know, definitely some great offensive players out there in the pass area to look out for.
All right, so there was a lot of points in that game. There's also a lot of points between Vista Murrieta and Redlands East Valley, which for Rev, they're not used to that, giving up that many points.
Yeah, you look at 59 points and you wonder, wow, that's totally shocking, giving Rev's defense. And I went back, Redlands East Valley only gave up 60 points all of last regular season. So for them to give up 59 in a game is huge. And you have to go all the way back to Rev's first season as a varsity program to find out when they gave up more points. And that's when they played Riverside Poly and lost 63-0 in just their 3rd varsity game. So definitely a shocking result to see Rev give up that many points.
All right, moving on to volleyball. Speaking of points, there was a gal at ACA, Arrowhead Christian, who had a huge volleyball match, put up more than 40 kills, correct?
Yeah, she put up 40 kills. Michaela Marvin, you know, the 40 kill mark is now kind of like one of the biggest barriers, kind of the benchmark for just an absolutely outstanding game. And, you know, she got 40 kills. You know, ACA did lose that game, but the 40 kills that she put up, she's only the 3rd player in our area's history to reach that 40 kill mark. So the first time it happened was in 2006. Great Oaks, Heather Myers had 40 kills in a match against Vista Murrieta. And then about a month and a half later, Nicole May of Centennial put up 44 to set the standard, the inland area record with 44 kills.
40 kills, that's amazing. All right, before we go, we got to give you EPJ's question for this week. And we're going back to the war for the wheel because Sty Hairston in the losing cause for Banning put up another 300-yard rushing game. So, Eric, what's your question this week?
Yeah, 326 yards against Beaumont, and he had 398 the week before against Cathedral City. So my question of the week this week is, who are the last 2 players from the inland area to have back-to-back 300-yard rushing games? And here's one of the hints I give every week. It's not Toby Gerhardt. It's actually happened twice since Toby Gerhardt played at Norco.
So think about that. One last season, right? There's another hint, if I could throw that out there. One guy did it last year. All right, stay tuned. We'll be back next Tuesday, and Eric will have your answer for that question of the 300-yard rushers going back-to-back games like that. I'm Pep Fernandez. That's EPJ, and we're by the numbers.